Another candidate has joined us, New York's Andrew Yang. So we were talking, you've seen this piece, with our undecideds we've been following. You were the unanimous pick about the guy they wanted to have a beer with.
Yes.
And I know you take great pride in that. Hey, another big rally for you last night. I believe 1,200 people here for your rally here in the Metro. You're closed here. I have talked to some people who are impressed with the amount of people you've been turning out here. Do you have the caucus traditional infrastructure to build out statewide that's necessary?
Yes, we have tons of boots on the ground. I'm going to be meeting with various canvass and caucus kickoff teams around the state. But we have precinct captains all over the state, and we are very excited for tomorrow night's vote. We have what we need to get this, to get the vote out.
So what's the game plan here? You started as a guy who, frankly, a lot of people didn't know, right? And now they have watched when you first started coming here with your crowd size, you had interested people, perhaps a little bit familiar.
I would call them courteous people.
Courteous people, Iowa nice people. But look, in all
Curious
seriousness,
and courteous. Thank you, Iowa.
You're clearly beyond that right now, right? I mean, there aren't just 1,200 curious people. So something has built here last night. You start to get those, when you're talking about a 4-digit crowd, there's something that has happened. So for you to elevate to a top tier, traditional top 3 ticket, top 4 ticket coming out of here, what has to happen for you tomorrow?
I think we need to surprise people. And expectations for my campaign have consistently been beaten by us. And so that's our goal on Monday too, is to beat expectations.
And how are you trying to drive this home? Now, I'm not seeing a heavy campaign schedule for you. You're going to do some canvassing things, right? No more big rallies.
No more big rallies. There's this little thing called the Super Bowl that we feel like Iowans watch football. And so we thought it'd be pretty dumb to have a rally opposite Super Bowl Sunday. So our big rally was last night, and then today we're going to be meeting with our team members, volunteers, canvassers.
When you look out in your crowd, who are you seeing right now? What's your demographic? Who are your followers?
Well, that's the joy of our growth this past number of weeks, because it went from a younger crowd now to very, very diverse, many older voters. Many people come up to me and say, hey, my son said I needed to come see you. And so we've reached demographics and voters that we were not reaching earlier.
A lot of what you've talked about from the get-go, and you've made this joke that your stump speech is essentially the same thing, right? Because you found that connection with it. You have been warning people about technology, that through technology, certain jobs in certain industries are essentially disappearing. So the government has a role in providing every adult with $1,000 a month to give you that safety net as you then figure out what's going to happen next. So as you've been trying to drive this conversation home, you mentioned that at the beginning it was the younger folks, but as you've talked more, older folks have started to join your rallies. What is the connection there?
Well, the connection is that people here in Iowa can see what's happened around you, in your towns, in your communities. It started on the farms with the mechanization and consolidation of those agricultural jobs. Then it shifted to factories, blasting 40,000 manufacturing jobs away right here in the state. Now 30% of Iowa's stores and malls are closing because Amazon's soaking up $20 billion in business a year and paying zero in taxes. And so older voters are looking up and saying, why are we not excited about our kids' futures? Why does it feel like the next generation feels this need to leave their town or even their state to access certain kinds of opportunities? And they realize that we can do better. We have to do better for the people right here in Iowa.
This idea that you're pushing, the universal basic income, this $1,000 a month, why have you not capped it at some point, whether it's you can make up to 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year, whatever it is? The way you have it, everybody gets it. And if I'm correct here, you may adjust whether it's traditional welfare like we used to call it. Those programs may wean off as we rely more on this UBI, right?
Well, the dividend is universal, it's opt-in, and everyone gets it. It's just a right of citizenship. This is based upon the experience in Alaska, because everyone in Alaska has gotten it for almost 40 years, the petroleum dividend from the richest Alaskan to the poorest. And that way—
But yours is guaranteed. Theirs can fluctuate based on the performance of the year ahead, I believe.
Yeah, this is true. It's one of the joys of the federal government. We can just set an amount of $1,000 a month that we can easily afford in today's $21 trillion economy. The fact is, we're in the most extreme winner-take-all economy in the history of the world, and it's getting more extreme as technology gets better, stronger, faster. As human beings, we're lucky to stay just about the same, you know what I mean? Like, I feel lucky if I didn't get dumber on a given day. So we have to face facts that in the 21st century, our economy is changing in fundamental ways, and we need to rebalance it so it works for us, our families, our kids.
So why not cap it at a certain income?
Well, the joy of having it be universal is that there's no stigma attached to it. There's no need to monitor your circumstances. No, you're getting it, I'm not getting it. No fake divorces where it's like, hey, you're on your own now, you make zero, so you get it. Like, all that stuff just disappears. And this is based upon the Alaskan experience. It's wildly popular in Alaska, in part because it's so simple, everyone gets it, everyone looks forward to it.
Since you've been campaigning, you had a moment where your wife opened up about something that was horrific that happened to her family when she was pregnant, and a doctor was inappropriately touched her, obviously. That was a hard thing for you all to go public with. How has this process made you, and some of this you didn't even realize, right?
Well, I knew about
when it
the assault. I mean,
when it
I did
first
not know. You know, I did not know, which was heartbreaking when I did find out. But I have to say, Dave, a lot of it's the people of Iowa that my wife was campaigning on the trail, meeting so many women and voters who were sharing their stories with her, and she realized that she could do something that helped other people by sharing her story. And I've been overwhelmed. Evelyn's been overwhelmed by the outpouring of support and warmth and love that she's received, because we know it's not an Evelyn story. This is unfortunately is a story that's all too common in the United States.
All right, as we go to the end here, we'll throw a little softball your way, but what's your final pitch to Iowans?
I thought he was going to ask what my pick was for the Super Bowl.
Well,
Go
let's do
Chiefs!
that too. All right, Chiefs, on record.
But my pitch to Iowans is this. How did Donald Trump win your purple swing state by almost 10 points in 2016? What has changed? And what has changed is that your economy is shifting in fundamental ways that's pushing more and more of you to the side. It's getting more and more out of balance between families and the big companies, between rural towns and big cities on the coasts. We have to rebalance that economy. We have to stop pretending that Donald Trump is the cause of all of our problems. He is not. He is a symptom of a disease that has been building up in our communities for years, and it is up to us to start curing the disease on Monday night. I am the Asian doctor for the job.
Thank you. Always appreciate the access. Safe travels.
Thank you. Great to see you, Dave. And yeah, I want to have a beer with you too. And one of you that I saw in person, I'm so sorry, in Ames. You know, I owe you 2 beers. I'm going to come back as your president. We're going to do this, and Dave will be there and film it. And people will say this does not seem like official presidential business. And I say, being a man of my word is always presidential business.
It'll be the beer summit. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
you know the person we're talking about.
All right, when we come back, we'll stick to coffee. No beer when we come back, but Jerry and Mike return with their final predictions on this Caucus Eve edition of The Insiders. So we'll talk to them next.
Team, subscribe for more of these type of videos.